Nice sky blue shirt.
Yeah, maroon. State trader. You've never even been to...
F*** you. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Rugby League Outlaws, where it is mate against mate, state against state. But Dan, we got a weekend rugby league to get through first.
We did. What a weekend. We had some highs, we had some lows.
Yeah.
Mainly highs.
Yeah, mainly
And
highs.
we got so many discussion points to the fact that we were going to come in tomorrow. We thought, nah. Let's get in tonight and hammer it while it's fresh.
That's not exactly what happened. Producer Dids wasn't available Monday and Tuesday. So
They don't need to know that.
yeah, here we are. But let's start.
The big news.
Origin selection, New South Wales team has dropped. Any snubs, major snubs?
Well, there's one major snub.
Yeah, James Tedesco.
James Tedesco should have been picked purely because we played him this weekend.
Yeah.
No, Terrell May.
Terrell
is
May.
Obviously the one, and we'll talk about that more in a minute. I thought the side they named was good. Mm-hmm. Great, even. The fact that we had to rely on a series of injuries of plotters such as Jake Trbojevic and Jacob Saifiti to get this side is what annoys me. Mm-hmm. Now, we don't know this for sure, but we absolutely know this because it's been reported all weekend that, you know,
Turbo was going to get picked.
Turbo was going to get picked. Gerbo was going to get picked. Jacob Saifiti was going to get picked. All injured. And Turbo's broken, which sucks. But the side they've come up with, I actually really like. There's like 2 or 3 changes I would have made, but whatever. This is Laurie Daly. Anything less than 8 is a win. I've seen people come out and say, this Blues team wins a series. Look, on paper, it probably should.
Probably does.
But Laurie Daly's, you know, I said New South Wales were the better team years ago, but Brad Fittler was horrible. We lost. We had the better coach last year. We won. This year, it's a split because Billy Slater has, as we'll talk about in a minute, hasn't got the greatest record. Or I don't love his player selections. I'll leave more Queensland to you. But overall, I think that New South Wales team 1-17 is pretty good. The big worry is that Payne Haas may miss out and Stefano comes in. Now, if Payne Haas goes out, they need to say to Terrell May, look, we are sorry for what we've done. You need to come in and you need to be Payne Haas. Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. It's, you know, after the thing came out about him being snubbed, he's like, well, maybe I'll change my allegiance to New Zealand. Okay, like that is a tongue-in-cheek comment.
Of course it was. He said to throw the jersey in the bin.
Yeah.
Anyone who takes that seriously.
That is a tongue-in-cheek comment made by a guy who has thrown everything, and even got through another 80 minutes of solid work on the weekend. And that's being overlooked because of something he did at the Roosters last year. That's the only thing I can put it down to.
It has to be personal.
Laurie Daly and the New South Wales selectors have actually gone to Trent Robinson and said and they've only heard Trent Robinson's side of the story. They probably haven't even interviewed this guy. They're just like, oh, whatever. Yeah. Robbo's not going to lie to us.
No, well, the fact is he's gone on a stream to address this. And like you said, it was a joke. It was a tongue-in-cheek. I'll throw the jersey in the bin. You think he meant that for 1 single second? No, of course not. Now, there are character concerns, is what we keep hearing. That's fine. Spencer Linu, Latrell Mitchell, Mitch Barnett all got picked, all character concerns. Liam Martin's a hothead who gets in a fight. Hudson Young's been sin-binned 50 times in his career and they're worried about this guy's character. It's personal, it's an agenda. Now, we don't know what happened at the Roosters. Maybe whatever's happened or maybe the person he is, you just can't pick him. But on form, which Laurie Daly said again, I'm going to pick on form. If you pick Jake Trbojevic, there are 3 players that came off the Cronulla bench on the weekend who should be picked over Jake Trbojevic. So I'm not confident, but the side he's named 1-17, if it runs out like that, I like it.
And look, like the worst thing, I don't know how much influence on selection that Andrew Johns has, but he said...
Hopefully none.
He said that if I'm picking my team, I'm picking Tom Trbojevic on the wing over Zach Lomax, and that's when I just turned around and went, I really hope Andrew Johns is the next New South Wales coach. I really do.
Well, but everyone's a player, of course.
I think, is Appy Coruscant on the extension?
No, he's not. Now,
So Connor Watson's the utility.
Yeah, he is.
Who's the 18, 19, 20?
So 18 is Campbell Graham because of the Stephen Crichton potential injury. 19 is Stefano because of the Payne Haas. And number 20 is Molly Olakau'atu.
Should be Keon Koloamatangi.
Well, it should be. Now, I've seen people come out and say Olakau'atu's been snubbed. He should start. Look, he's had some great Origin performances in the past. I actually thought his Origin 3 effort coming off, with some Usus was better than he played. But he got skittled by Billy Burns 2 weeks ago. Kailero whacked him and completely shut him down. And Teague Wilton did. Now, I know we're picking 2 games, But he got done by two blokes that aren't in Origin contention.
Yeah, I think Keon, he's performed, and he's moved to prop as well.
Yeah, he ran for 300 metres.
It shows that he can play in the edge, could cover lock, could cover prop as well.
Yeah,
Look, I don't think there's too many big stumps there. I know Connor Watson's on the bench.
I like that.
I've got to ask you a question, and this comes from obviously his biggest hater 4 years ago. How did Blake Brayley get overlooked?
Yeah.
He has smoked Reece Robson 5 out of the last 6 times that he's played him.
He has. If you're picking on form, Brayley's your man, and Appy's probably number 2. The reason they didn't pick Appy is because you can't play 80 minutes in Origin, and you can't. People like
he doesn't even play 80 minutes.
Yeah, you got Connor Watson. Okay, but he's not being picked to cover 20 minutes at hooker. He's been picked to go in the middle, and if he needs to, he can go and he can cover the back line, the halves, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been picked for that. It throws everything out. So I don't mind the overlook. I think Reece Robson was fantastic last year. You're right, though. On form, it's Brayley.
All right. This next point. It's over to you, but I've got my thoughts on this, but I'm going to let you go off.
Okay, so we were going to do this on the knock-on, but unfortunately someone left their laptop at work, i.e. me, and couldn't record. Last week, 100% Footy, I believe it is, on Channel 9, had an interview with Mitch Moses lined up. Cool, it's awesome, great player. They've reached out and said, so-and-so cannot be on the panel or we will pull this. And, of course, Isaac Moses, his manager and uncle or something, was behind it. Because evidently the journalist in question, we won't name him for whatever, you can Google it, everyone knows who it is anyways, had said some disparaging things about Mitch Moses in the past, or Isaac Moses in the past. Player managers have way too much pull on the way the games run. Mm-hmm. They are the biggest negative, including referees, more on that later, in the game because they have a control despite not being on the field, which nothing should mean more than the players on the field. Mm-hmm. This bloke is now saying, well, if you don't do this, this and this, I'm not going to let my player do an interview that he already agreed to. Mm-hmm. That's despicable. And for Channel 9 to turn around and say, yep, who do you want? Is just downright spineless. You know what I would have said if someone said that to us? I would have said, cool, don't come on. Mm-hmm. Are you kidding me? Yeah. That is disgusting. That is rewarding the child who's acting up in the corner and then wondering why he keeps doing it again and again. Mm-hmm. It's just, they've got to put a stop to this. They've got to do what the clubs like, was it the Roosters or that have come out and said, we're not talking to anyone that you're involved in because you're not worth it.
And the Tigers are about to do the same thing?
100% they are. We saw Lockie Galvin, you know, he's talked his talk. Every time he touches the ball, his own fans are like, They completely turned it. And this kid has been made a villain when last year everybody loved him. All because of a player manager.
And here's the thing. The Tigers have got one more Isaac Moses contracted player on their books. Yeah. And do you know who that is?
Buller?
It's Jareen Buller.
Ugh, they're full-back for the next 10 years.
And what happens if they lose him? So here's my take on player managers, right? Answer me this, and I know like this is going to be a thought process.
Yep.
Right? Because it took me a while. Who was the last big name marquee player that left their club in the prime?
In their prime? Mm-hmm. Oh. Like big.
Because someone turned around and said Nico Hines. No, Nico Hines played 20 games when he.
Maybe Moses from the Tigers. He was.
Yeah, someone like a James Maloney comes to mind, right?
Yeah, well, Maloney did a couple times. Yeah.
So there's not many, is what I'm saying. People are like, well, Thurston. Thurston was a 15-game rookie when he left. No. It doesn't happen all that often. Sean Johnson is one.
Yeah, but he got kicked out.
He did get kicked out, right? So here's my thing. If you're a marquee player, and you know early that you're going to be like a superstar in the game, right? You don't really need a player manager because you can negotiate your own contract because chances are you're going to get offered a 4-year, $4 million deal. You're going to sign it at that club and then you just go and negotiate what you're worth afterwards. And because you're a marquee player, you're going into Origin, you're going into New South Wales, Australia, or New Zealand, or England camps or whatever, you're going to get text messages and numbers off people. And, you know, if you were ever thinking of leaving, you thought, I might want to go to the Gold Coast, you just reach out to your phone and you go, hey, AJ Brimson, you know, what's Dez's number? I want to have a quick chat.
Yep, yeah, that's fair.
You don't really need a player manager. The player managers have only got a real value to your journeyman. Guys who are changing clubs every year.
Yeah, it's true.
if I was like Luke Lewis, everyone should get on the phone to Luke Lewis and go, how did you negotiate your contract your whole life?
I have one. Jerome Luai is the one.
Jerome Luai.
But he moved himself, I believe. Yeah. He told the Panthers it was time for a new challenge, etc., wanted the bag, and a couple of Panthers did likewise. Player managers are there to agitate moves because their future earnings depend on contracts being upped.
Yeah.
Now, I don't begrudge any player for having representation. A lot of these blokes, with the greatest respects, have trouble signing their name, let alone getting a deal out there. So I get it. But when a bloke who has been twice, I believe, at least once, has been kicked out.
Suspended, yeah.
Has come in and throws around and throws a program that's like, talks about NRL. It's not even NRL project. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That's despicable. Mate, we had a huge name player lined up for an interview. We're talking origin, certainty, future immortal. And his coach said, look, we can't do that. And we said, cool, no worries. 100%, because, we're little guys, let's be honest. Subscribe, help us, please. But for Channel 9, who can get anyone to go, yeah, we'll bend over and we'll get rid of one of the staples of our show just because you said this, is downright spineless. And again, rewarding this kid in the corner who's got his willy out and thinks he's hilarious. It's just terrible. Player managers got to go.
I like it more when you're talking about like the EPL and a lot of player managers, their parents or their siblings.
Yeah.
And you have a look at Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's just signed for $400,000 a week for Real Madrid. His brother's his agent.
He gets the cut.
Gets 5%. So he gets $20,000 a week for being Trent Alexander-Arnold's brother.
That's cool.
Go to that.
Yeah, good on him.
Go to your mum and go, hey, negotiate my contract. I'm actually going to do it. And in return, you don't ever have to pay your electricity, Telstra, internet bill ever again.
That's so
cool. I'll do your groceries.
That's fantastic. What isn't fantastic, Terry? We had some fun at their expense.
Vegas.
The showcase.
Vegas, the biggest showcase in the world.
Viva Las Ordinary.
Is getting one good team. One. One good team.
They said when this started, not everyone's going to get a crack at this. You got to prove, you got to apply, you got to be.
What have the Knights done to deserve to get on a plane to Vegas?
You know, the only thing they can put forward is we're not the Tigers. And the NRL said, sold.
I would probably rather take the Tigers.
Yeah, they've got more marquee players, but Ponga's sort of the marquee player.
Is he even going to be there next year?
Who knows?
Imagine if he left.
And I tweeted Allegiant Stadium and I said, sorry.
Yeah.
And part of, I consider myself, an Australian, an ambassador. I apologise for the garbage that we are about to send you.
Look, Dogs Dragons has the potential to be an okay game.
Yeah, we'll go. Yeah, sure.
Cowboys Knights stinks.
No.
And I think they've turned around and said, these are rivalries. Like, what is the rivalry with the Cowboys and the Knights? Apart from the fact
terrible.
Apart from the fact that they just sign players off each other because they're crap.
Yeah, it is not a rivalry. Maybe it's the ordinary rivalry.
It's the Ponga Cup.
Yeah, look, that must be it.
And the Jake Clifford Cup.
And he had 3 games up there.
Yeah,
mate, I was. Look, we'd heard the names weeks and weeks in advance, so it's not like I was shocked or anything. But again, they go back to we're sending marquee teams, you've got to earn it. What? Did no one else put their hand up? Melbourne applied.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Melbourne haven't been.
And they were the ones that were like, well, we're the only Victorian team, makes sense to send us. They were always going to send a Queensland team, I get it.
Yeah.
And
so send Melbourne and the Dolphins. That would have been sick.
That would have been so much better than the dross we got. Apologies to the fans who are excited to go over there, but we'll watch any games because we have to and we love it. But if you're in Vegas and you're an American and you Google, Newcastle, they're terrible. And then you go,
that's just the city.
The Dogs are good. Yeah, well, that too. The Dogs are good. Let's see how they've gone the last 10 years. Not so good. I think, whatever. It is what it is, and I'm sure it'll be great.
No, it's not always, the first Vegas was okay. Last year's Vegas was good because it had, this season's Vegas was good because it had 4, three of the teams are in the
top 4 or top 5 now.
Top 5, and you got the reigning premiers that went over there as well. And Penrith will be in the top 8 coming into the year. I'm confident as hell about that. But
yeah.
If ever there was an excuse to
not go to Vegas. Hey, look, at least I'm not tempted this year.
Yeah.
That's good. Thank you.
Dan, can we talk about the referees?
I insist that we do.
There is one call that is just burning in my brain this weekend.
Please.
How did Roger Tuivasa-Sheck not knock that ball on?
Well, he did.
And you know what the worst thing about it is, right? It was almost like Peter Goff was too afraid to put the whistle to his mouth, and he turned around and he went, you know what? They'll just kick the ball down the other end, Dolphins get the ball back. And then they go and score. He, seriously now, when that game finished, his card should have been stamped for at least a month.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was
And the touchy on that side.
despicable.
Yeah.
Now-
That's not acceptable.
No, it's not.
Like, you can see the little ones, like, that you know, when the player's trying to offload and it might touch a player, but they get the ball back quickly. Oh, you know. Okay, that is an easy miss.
Absolutely.
That is an easy miss. That was absolutely unacceptable when you think in the Canberra game, Hudson Young drops the ball but hits it backwards before it hits the ground, and Liam Kennedy called that a knock-on.
Yeah, that was tough. It went 4 metres backwards. So that particular, and yes, you're exactly right with everything you said, that particular incident, so those that haven't seen it, there's a bomb to Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. He bobbles it a metre forward.
3 metres forward.
Falls back, slams to the ground.
And an offside Warriors player
Jumps
picks it
on
up.
it, looks up like, oh, well, I had to do that. And he did. And nothing was called. And you're like, okay.
At least call the knock-on, or at least, like...
It was ridiculous. There's 2 disgusting errors, and then to make it worse, the Warriors go 80 metres in a couple plays later and score. Now, to his credit, and I won't be saying that often in this segment, if they don't score, it's probably forgotten. The fact they did makes this 10 times worse. Now, we move to Sunday.
No. The fact that play is literally the play that won them that game.
Well, it is in hindsight, isn't it?
Because you take that try out, it's 12-all.
Yep. Move to Sunday. Ezra Mam, you know the story. Gets in, turns, offloads the ball a metre forward.
5 metres forward.
The referee in the time, pretty much right in line.
Yep.
The sideline official, I won't name names, we all know who it is, several metres behind the play, both horribly out of position, still should have seen it. Forward pass, given, try. Okay, whatever. It happens. Thursday night, though. The worst decision I've ever seen in my life.
There was 2.
There were 2.
Go.
There was the knock-on that was ruled that led to the Queensland play. Put a kick in. I think it was Tamika Upton's reached out for the ball. Olivia Koenig, I believe, has fallen on the ball and grounded it. It's gone up, no try. Belinda Sharp sends it up, goes, I just want to check. It was wet, you know, whatever. She might have lost it. It all happens. One look, Tamika Upton and the Queensland girls go set for the scrum. Sutton goes, oh, she didn't mean to ground that. That's unintentional, so that's a try. They give the try. I watch Sam, our great mate at Wobbling Jaws, like, what? You see Tamika Upton go, oh, sweet, yay. You see the fans going, what the hell? And not one single person outside that idiot in the box thought that was a try. If she didn't intentionally ground it, it doesn't matter. If you don't intentionally knock the ball on, if you don't intentionally head high someone, if you don't intentionally, run out there, pull your pants down, it's not a penalty anymore, says Sutton, who then backs up and has an absolute shocker on Sunday. And yet this bloke will get the game of the round next week, which, you know, there aren't many. This is disgusting. Yeah, they don't know the rules, Terry.
And so Peter Goff there's only 5 games this week, so Peter Goff's probably going to be rested.
Oh, yeah, he'll be rested.
Yeah, he'll be rested. But then there was the other, where New South Wales put the kick in and Upton knocked the ball on the in-goal area, and the New South Wales player grounds the ball and it should have been a try, and they're like, no, Tamika Upton grounded the ball. No, she didn't. She knocked the ball on, New South Wales scored, and they said, no, she grounded. What did she ground it with?
Oh, well
her shadow?
Well, mate, if the game wasn't over, that would have been doubly enforced.
Yeah.
It just, look, I'm with you, and we protect we defend the referees a lot. Those 50-50 calls, like there was one in the South game where there was a hit and whatever, there's stuff that happens. But these people do not know the rules of rugby league.
Okay, so I'll say this, in that South one, I didn't even see the ball hit Campbell Graham's arm.
No, me neither.
And when the Tigers challenged it, who was the referee in that game?
White Raymonds.
Yeah, and my favourite referee, right? he turned around and goes, "What? Sorry, what are you challenging?" They said, "Oh, we think it hit Campbell Graham's arm." He goes, "I didn't see it." Okay.
Yep.
And then it shaded his arm.
Yeah.
Great call from the Tigers.
Great challenge.
And that's a miss from a referee that if he missed that in play, shit, you just live with that.
Yeah.
Because the only people who saw it were the Tigers, and they didn't blow up until they actually ran the trail down.
Yep.
And that's why Safar threw him into touch.
Yeah, he wanted to stop. Good play.
Yeah, so he was ready for the bin to go, we'll go back up there. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with those little ones that when
happen.
It does happen, right? You can't. It's the bit, and I know this is why I'm going to say this. Pains me to say this here, but this is the reason why Ashley Klein is the number one referee in the game.
Yeah,
because you will see Ashley Klein, and you will turn around and go, "Oh, he stitched my team up, and there was 9 penalties to 2, and there was this, and there was that, and there was blah blah blah." He don't make a howler.
No, the howlers are big, and there were 3 of them this week.
And they weren't Ashley Klein.
No, and it's the same people each and every couple of weeks, and nothing's said.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep blowing up.
This is why your number one referee in the game will be White Raymond in 2 years.
Yep.
But right now it's Ashley Klein, and it ain't even close. Because you might think Ashley Klein hates your team, and you might think that that's a bad call against your team, but Ashley Klein would have called that a knock-on.
Yep, fair. Now your boys.
The Queensland side, look.
It's not going to be named by the time this drops. Oh, well, it'll be named, but
I'm worried, Dan.
Why?
I'm worried. I'm really worried. Okay.
Yes.
4 Queensland teams played this weekend.
Yep.
What are those teams? You got the Dolphins, the Broncos, the Cowboys, and the Titans. What are they made primarily up?
Queenslanders.
Yeah. And they all got smoked. Yep. 3 of them got smoked at home.
They did.
The Titans never had a chance down in Canberra. I don't care what anyone says. I know AJ Brimson started off really well. But that's the core of it, right? You got to think that Daly Cherry Evans plays for Manly. He destroyed him. Valentine Holmes is probably going to get in there. Kalen Ponga is severely out of form, right?
Just literally the only bloke.
Outside of that, you've got 4 teams that they generally pick all their players out of.
Yep.
And they got beat.
Yeah, that's completely fair. Now, the names that we've heard, and again, it hasn't been announced.
Hasn't been announced. Ponga, fullback.
Ponga. Val Holmes will join Xavier Coates on the wings.
Yep.
Robert Toya in the centres.
With Hammer,
which I believe, it's good on him. They took a punt. And Munster
and Cherry Evans.
And up front, you've got...
Lindsay Collins.
Yeah, Tino and Carrigan. And
Carrigan won't play.
No, well, they said he might be all right now. He's just got to get some surgery done, which sounds worse than it is. Ruben Cotter's the other player that was named. I think he's going to start at prop, which to me is just...
sucks.
Yeah, he's not very good. And
mean, Tom Gilbert got a pec injury.
Yeah, which sucks because he would have got in for sure.
Horsburgh's another one who's going to get in there.
50-50. There was Nanai and Sewer were going to be named. The other player we're hearing is Kurt Mann, who,
I'm happy with that.
Despite being 32, can do everything, and I'm not going to begrudge him his
that reminds me of the Cam McInnes selection.
Yeah, he can just do it all. So look, that Queensland team on paper is, I think, a little bit worse than New South Wales.
A little bit?
Well, it's a lot worse than New South Wales, but I don't want to give them any more ammo because they'll watch and they'll replay this 10 times. Then when they win, you'll be nerd. I just don't want that even.
I'm worried, Dan.
You should
be. This is the first time as a Queenslander you go in and say you're worried.
You should be worried, but how many times have we said that in the past and Queensland have come out? Look, Cam Munster's going to be there. And you know what he's going to say?
We don't have a Cam... Cam Munster's not on a bender.
Well, maybe he will be.
We don't have a Cam Smith. We don't have a Jonathan Thurston. Where you've seen these teams in years gone by and gone, that is a dreadful Queensland team. Who's in the 7? One of the 5 greatest players that's ever played. Who's in the 9? The greatest player that's ever played. The greatest fullback that's ever played.
Yeah. And look, Harry Grant's not playing particularly well at the moment. Cronulla, Blake Brayley easily outpointed him. I like Val on the wing because I was a little bit worried they were going to go. Look, I would have named Xavier Savage. I'm not going to lie. He's been fantastic this year. But there are other players I heard. I was like, okay, good, pick them because I want you guys to lose by plenty. That team doesn't scare me, but the jersey does.
Yeah.
You see players like Ruben Cotter, and it's the same with Liam Martin in the Blues. Week to week, you put him in that jersey, they become Superman. So it should be a good series. I think it's whoever's...
I think it's 3-0.
Well, if Daly wasn't... If it was still Maguire, it's 3-0. I worry about Laurie Daly. This is Brad Fittler all over again. Lucky you guys got Billy Slater, not a competent coach. So.
Yeah. This screams whitewash. Is there a game taken somewhere?
There is game 2's going to Perth. So Suncorp, Perth, ANZ, whatever that is this week. So Queensland need to win the opener. Let's be honest. If they lose at Suncorp,
if they lose at Suncorp, it's 3-0 regardless of what it is. I'm worried. I'm telling you, I'm worried.
Good. It's crap colour.
Thank you.
Jerry,
Talk to me, Dan.
time to talk some black, white, and blue.
And of course, this segment is brought to you by Winnett Civil Grading. We are in it to win it. Since they've come on board,
Undefeated.
we are undefeated now.
We're going to do a really quick rundown of the Storm game. We'll do a full on fins up. Please check that out.
Yep.
What are your thoughts, mate? Because I'm pretty darn happy.
I had some friends over on the weekend, and they said, like, why aren't you at the game? I said, oh, you know, got the kids, it's cold. And he said, oh, that's not, like, you've been to Sharknado.
Yes.
So, right, between you and I, we're going to lose by 20.
Yeah, fair. It is Melbourne.
It's Melbourne. We've been playing good.
Yep.
But Melbourne have been sensational.
Melbourne
and Melbourne are still like they're $3.50 to win the comp.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
And when they strolled over within 5 minutes, I was like, this is going to be a long night.
It didn't feel good, I'm not going to lie.
And I'll say this, the minute Grant Anderson went through, a Tigers fan tweeted me and said, get ready, son, you're in for a long night.
Ah, yeah.
So
That would have been fun.
And then straight after that, you saw them all going, and the camera panned Adam Fanua Blake, and he looked ropeable.
Good.
Looked absolutely right. And then he took that, like, to quote Michael Jordan, took that personally.
Yeah, he did.
He did, and for 75 minutes after that, he was just untouchable.
He was incredible. Couple of big moments.
Yeah, a couple of big moments. Nice try.
Lost Jesse Ramian very early on.
Stone Street.
He did it, an eye injury we heard, because we just didn't see he didn't come back. We just assumed he failed his HIA, but evidently passed eye injury.
So I fully expect a show cause notice to be handed to Cronulla on how that was a HIA, because it was a poke in the eye.
Yeah.
But look, I don't want to go... I don't want to go too far in this because we have our own show for it. But all in all, a win over the Storm at any time is great. We get a rematch with them in a couple of weeks after Origin.
Let's talk the big talking point, mate. Ronaldo Mulatalo, who is a
beast
favourite of ours, let's say that. And that's not sarcastic. We love the bloke. A good friend of ours, Andy Raymond, has come out and said that, you know, Ronaldo would win the Dally M for being an F-wit. And... there was some other big names, Molly and your mate has come out and said that, you know, he's overcome Reed Marnie, blah, 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 and that he should get punched in the face, this and that. I think he's fantastic for rugby league, and if you don't like it, that's a you problem. Ronaldo's the greatest.
Ronaldo's one of them players like Michael Ennis, where if you play against him or your team plays against him, you hate them.
Agreed.
But he's on your team, you love him. For 13 years, I cursed Michael Ennis.
Yep.
The day that he announced his retirement, I was so sad.
Yeah, Jeremy Smith's another one.
Yeah.
Biggest grub in the world. When he was a Shark, I loved him.
Yeah. And so, you know, like, the thing about this is one of the biggest fan bases that's going after Ronaldo at the moment is just trying to deflect from Reed Marnie.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. I fully get why Manly fans have turned on Ronaldo because he got waved off. But, like, this is what you want in rugby league. Like, do you want...
characters.
Yeah. Do you want that or do you want David Simmons?
Yeah, well, I want Ronaldo in every single way. With the greatest respect.
Yeah, like, I don't really care. Like, my reason for hating Ronaldo is because sometimes he's a left winger and sometimes he's so far in he's defending on the right second row.
Yes.
That's why I don't like Ronaldo.
Yeah.
In terms of when he's like laughing in your face because you've dropped the ball.
Yeah.
Like, Manly don't like him. Manly fans last week took a real because he kept getting in Ruben Garrick's face.
Yeah.
Ruben Garrick started that by pushing Will Kennedy in the back of the head when he dropped the ball.
Again, you don't touch our Willie.
Yeah. If anyone's going to beat my Willie, it'll be me.
Yes.
Ronaldo just backed his mate.
Yeah,
and he did the same thing on the weekend. Every time a Sharks player dropped the ball, Melbourne was... So, of course, Ronaldo's going to do it.
I love the photo where he runs up to Coates and's like...
Yeah.
We've seen Ronaldo try and put the garbage away.
Yeah.
And he's hopeless.
Yeah.
He needs to be himself.
Yeah.
Nicest guy ever off the field. Okay, he can be a bit of a dick on the field. Every single player's done it. Even Jake Trbojevic has his moments. Ronaldo is a character. And we love him for it. Do not change. Maybe stay on your wing just a little bit more. But the other night, he was so damn good.
Yeah.
And the game changed when he started marking Xavier Coates because they couldn't take the easy try going there. So I thought he had a fantastic game. I think his season's been great. He's scoring tries for fun again. Him coming out of our back end, he and Ero just look like they're going to score every time Sam Stone Street and Will Kennedy throw the ball out there. So anyone, and I've seen some Sharks go, it's embarrassing. Who cares what anyone thinks? As Adam Fanua Blake says.
If you're embarrassed by that, Just go and support another
Go
team.
support the Dragons. Dead set.
Yeah.
What did their wingers do this weekend? Actually, Sloan played pretty okay.
He got a hat-trick, didn't he?
Something like that. Go support Tyrell Sloan.
Yeah.
Wankers. Anyways, we've had some chat about our beloved / not so beloved former coach.
Our Premiership 5'8" has came out and said I didn't learn anything from our Premiership winning coach.
Yeah, so there was an event the other night that he was at with a couple of other players, and they said, who was the best coach you were under? Because, Robbo was there, and under Bellamy too at Melbourne, and there was a couple others, and Cleary, and he said, all of them were great except Flanagan, who didn't teach me F all. He should thank me for allowing him to be my assistant, and everyone laughed. And we've seen some people take this as like, Flanagan's terrible and he didn't teach Maloney anything. Maloney came with about 280 games to his name, a couple of premierships, a stack of Origin jerseys, and was making a joke in an event. It's James Maloney who jokes about barbecuing alone and sits on a podcast and laughs and makes fun of himself. Anyone who takes this seriously is an idiot.
Yeah, look, and it did make for a pretty, it made for a fun discussion about, is Shane Flanagan actually a good coach?
Completely fair.
And we've said, well, what he's being handed at the Dragons at the moment isn't doing him any favours. And yes, a nice win yesterday, is good for him. Mm-hmm. But outside of 2016, it's look, lots of finals appearances.
Yeah, look, if he didn't almost sink Cronulla several times, I'd probably think of him more positively. But the fact is, he was there when we won a premiership, and you guys ran it down a bit. But he recruited a lot of all the players that came in. He picked Bird, after he saw Val and he brought him through. So he's the guy who was there.
I didn't put down his recruitment, but people turn around and say that his recruitment's 10 out of 10. He got lucky. 90% of the time he got lucky. And I'll give you a classic example of the luck that on 3 players that he had, right? The luck on 3 players that he had, one was Todd Carney. And the Roosters released Todd Carney, and Cronulla were about to get fined by the NRL for not spending a certain amount of the salary cap. And then Todd Carney comes off contract, and we were the only club that could afford him at the time. The next one was Ben Barber, right? Ben Barber, the Brisbane Broncos turned around to every single club and said 70% of his wages will be covered by us. Most of the teams had a marquee fullback, and Flanagan said, well, I need a 5'8".
Yeah.
So that's where he was coming from there. And like Luke Lewis was all but going to the Tigers until Paul Gallen picked up the phone.
Yep.
You got Ennis and what's his name?
Litcher.
Yeah, Litcher literally just did a swap. Literally just did a swap.
Yeah.
And Bryce Gibbs, the deal nearly fell over, and he was asking for Andrew Fafita as well. The deal nearly fell over, and then everybody had to get involved, and that's how we got Andrew Fafita into it.
Yeah,
I think he got very. And you have to think, in 2015, he was playing Michael Gordon over Ben Barber.
Yeah, that wasn't great in hindsight.
So yes, he was able to get players. But he never went out and bought a centre. He kept Ben Pomeroy in the team.
Yeah.
And then when he went and bought a centre, he got Dean Collis.
And Latelli. Look, Collis was a nice guy. Let's leave it at that. Look, there's Wade Graham, which is the obvious one, and Hyington was a brilliant signing in hindsight. And
John O'Williams.
Yeah. Well, if you're gonna
John O'Wright.
If you're gonna stop it,
Jeff Robson.
These are some horrible times. But yes, he does have some ups and downs. So overall,
let Isaac DeGoyce go.
There's probably.
Son John Morris.
There's probably a lot of Maloney's maybe he's right. Who knows?
I'm not putting Shane Flanagan down. He has done what literally no other coach has been able to do in the history of the NRL, and that's win a premiership at Cronulla. And when it said come to pick your team in the half century, who's your coach? Shane Flanagan got 87% of the fan votes. Had to be Flanagan, right? The fact that Chris Anderson got some votes was people were drunk that night. That was probably James Maloney.
That's a Sharks fan.
But I'm just saying there was a lot of luck
fair.
To go with coaching.
There was. But we'll move on to this week.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it looks like we've got a couple of players out. Sam Stone Street looks like syndesmosis. He's facing 6 weeks on the sideline.
Yeah.
Hirotti's out.
Yeah.
Jesse Ramian, we haven't heard any update, but let's face it, it's probably long odds that he plays.
Well, it's a poke in the eye. Right?
Yeah, but it was bad enough that he couldn't come back.
Yeah, so he may have had blurred vision. Yeah. That blurred vision isn't going to last a week.
Oh, mate, I've gone to work with blurred vision before. Not from my folks.
Yeah. I can't see Ramian being out, right?
I
don't. If they are, we can't put Dan Atkinson on the wing. I know he did a job. In that. But yeah, no, he scored 2 tries.
Yeah, but he conceded.
1. 2. Well, one wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
One wasn't his fault. The one where he got jumped over, yeah, fair enough. You can't do anything about that. And the other one where they created the overlap.
Yeah, Talakai got burnt.
Yeah, Talakai got burnt. But he was also so far in as well. Whatever. Can't put him on the wing. It's got to be Chris Viola. He's been so close. The only other call that you could make, you're not going to pick Nakora Williams.
No, he's too young.
Michael Gabriel's injured. And I don't think Christian Dixon...
No, he's ineligible. He's a
dev player, right?
Train and trial, I believe, so he can't.
Well, it's past round 11.
Yeah, but Viola has to come up. If Viola's unavailable, then you can go to Dixon. I believe. Don't quote me on that. Yes, it has to be Chris Viola. Yeah. Now, the potential problem with that is that if Ramian's out, you probably have to name Atkinson at centre because you can't put him on the wing because he's going to have to mark Daniel Tupou.
You put Talakai at centre.
Yeah, you can, but...
Well, Rob Toa's not going to be there. Who's their other centre? Billy Smith. Yeah, he can handle Billy Smith.
There's a 1 week because we've got the bye the week after. There's plenty of options, but I think Chris Viola absolutely has to get picked. The only other thing I can
swap. You put Viola on Marky Mark.
You do.
And you put Ronaldo on Tupou.
Absolutely, that was where I was going with that. Yeah. Now, there are other things we do, like we may see Talakai at centre, which means Hoheipuru might finally get a spot. Great cool down the other day. After sitting down for 80-something minutes, he got up and did a cool down in front of everyone. That was really funny to watch.
T. Wilton was meant to come back after the bye. I think he may come back this week, and again, we probably won't see Hoheipuru get a game.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't. I would leave him around.
Yeah, I'd leave.
Say, hey, have the weekend.
So the Roosters are definitely without Angus Crichton. They're definitely without Spencer Lena. They're definitely without Connor Watson. Yep. We're hearing Lindsay Collins is going to be in the team and Robert. So that's 5 players out. Yep. If ever there was a time that you wanted to blood 1 or 2 rookies, this may be the game. This may be the game for it. I don't want to... Who's going to be their centre? If that means Marky Mark's probably going to go to the centre,
and they'll bring
Dom
Poga.
Young.
Oh my god, if it's Dom Young, that'll be fun. But also, you got to get Viola and get Atkinson on his shoulders. It's gonna be interesting. It'll be a good team. It's Tuesday, which we'll discuss.
Yeah, we will discuss. But I'm feeling like if there ever was a time you wanted to grab the Roosters, this is it.
Absolutely.
Dan,
talk to me, Terry.
It's time for some tips.
Some origin-affected football, which is what we live for.
Now, full disclosure, I haven't updated the spreadsheet, but I'll do that tomorrow and send it through.
Cool.
I did come into last round with a 2-point lead. We both picked Melbourne, so we've lost 2 points already. That's all I can tell you.
Well, there you go.
Origin-affected round, so it's a short week this week.
Some Thursday night football.
Thursday night football. The Dogs against the Finns. Now, the Finns will be missing 1 or 2 players.
Hammer. Gilbert, unfortunately, through injury. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Platt's out.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone else from the Finns is going to get called up.
No.
The Dogs will be without Max King and Kurt Mann.
Yep.
Again, for the 11th week in a row, the Dogs have had a player charged.
Yep.
But not suspended this time.
Oh, wow, for a change. Yeah.
The Dogs at home, they've got Burton. Crichton's going to be out as well.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Kiraz is out, injured.
Yeah, he's injured. She said they're going to be struggling out wide.
They're going to be struggling out wide.
Maybe Finns do come into this.
I think they do come into it, but you've still got Connor Tracy, you've still got Kikau, you've still got Matt Burton. They have lost Max King for this. I think so that as well. But I think the Dogs at home are going to have a bit too much.
Look, I dare say if the Finns get a lead, they won't be happy with it. I just think the Dogs can... I think they're going to lose. I just think there's too many players out. I think the Finns are more desperate. The Dogs can coast through this origin period, still set up a real top 4. So I'm tipping the Dolphins.
You're tipping the Dolphins? I'll tip the Dogs.
Beautiful.
Friday night, the Eels against Manly. Now,
rivalry.
This is going to be a crap game.
Yeah, well, you take the only 2 players of any
ilk out of
both teams,
right?
Yeah.
So now we're to the superstar battle. Is Dylan Brown versus Luke Brooks.
Yeah, that'd be all right.
Para.
Manly, I guess.
Para.
Yeah, I should be excited about this game.
Yeah,
Adokar and Saab, that'll be fast.
I'm excited to watch this game. I really am excited to watch this game, so I can laugh at it.
Yeah, no Moses, no chocolates, Manly.
stinker of a game. 5:30 at Combank Stadium, Penrith. No stars.
16 players.
Out of Origin. The Knights, no stars because they're garbage.
Yeah. They've only got one in Origin.
Yeah.
And Bradman Best's out through injury, which sucks.
Yeah, they've lost Saifidi. They've lost Dylan Lucas again.
Yeah, this game just stinks. I think the Penrith reserve grade team will beat what's left of the Newcastle first grade team, if you can call them that.
Are you going to go Penrith?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go against you, and I'm going to go the Knights.
Cool. There's no winner in this one.
No.
Certainly not us.
Rugby League is not the winner. 7:30 up at Gosford. The Roosters, as we've discussed at length, 5 or 6 players down.
Yep. Good time to get them.
Good time to get them. The Sharks haven't lost anyone to Origin, and they're hitting their straps.
Yeah. You're missing plenty of players through injury, but everyone's got injuries, so no excuses.
Yeah, this is like
At Gosford, so they don't even have their home ground advantage.
how you lean. And like last week, we both picked Melbourne.
Well, I'll tip the Roosters then and keep that going.
Yeah.
Look, if Cronulla,
It's almost worth losing 2 points and $2.
If Cronulla don't win this game, there's cause for concern, but I'll tip the Chooks because that's what I do. Just do it.
Yeah, I'll lean with you. Let's go the Chooks. I wanted to go different.
No.
No, not for this one.
Safe.
Finally, Sunday afternoon. This game will be a cracker. It's over in New
It
Zealand.
will be night time over there. It'll be 6 o'clock.
6
their
o'clock,
time, 4 o'clock hours. As the Warriors host the Raiders 2 versus 3. Not a huge Origin contingent now. You Hudson Young,
Mitch
potentially
Barnett.
Barnett. They're missing some players, but overall, yum.
Over in New Zealand, I'm getting first pick the Warriors.
Well, I got to go Canberra, but I wanted the Warriors. This would be great. I'm really looking forward to
This is the game of the round. I'm happy this is saving rugby league.
Yeah, it could be the only good game this weekend.
Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Rugby League Outlaws.
My colour's better than your colours.
Whatever.